Just one night, all we got. 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 I ain't got time for you, baby. Either you.
Elegant, fashionable, innovative, and revolutionary. These ladies that took over the Roaring Twenties were the epitome of what a woman should be. She had the right to do anything she wanted, which basically defied previous gender roles of the early 19th and 20th centuries. She could smoke, drink, and wear shorter dresses and higher heels. However, these women still had responsibilities. They were wives who still had to obey the laws and follow rules. These women wore their hair in short hairstyles called bobs. The 1920s was also a time where women left the home to work in real jobs. They also drove cars and danced provocative dances in nightclubs. One of these dances was called the shimmy and was even outlawed because it was considered taboo. The cheek and Joel was another one of these. However, whoever did these offensive dances were put on a blacklist and kicked out of reputable jazz clubs. The Roaring Twenties was the time period where flappers began to arise. This was also the time of the Prohibition. This was when the United States outlawed the sale and distribution of alcohol. Despite these laws, these women still purchased alcohol. One of the most famous flappers was Betty Boop. She was a cartoon character known for her non-traditional looks.
She is the world's first animated sex symbol, despite starting life as a dog. Welcome to WatchMojo.com, and today we'll be taking a look at the history of Betty Boop. Betty Boop was created by Max Fleischer of Fleischer Studios and made her debut in 1930s cartoon short Dizzy Dishes. The cartoon originally starred the voice talent of Margie Hines.
I have to have love, but when I'm having my love.
This was when Betty appeared as an anthropomorphic French poodle that was modeled after the likeness of singer Helen Kane. Betty was an immediate success due to her saucy look. However, it was only in 1932's cartoon Any Rags that she transformed into a human. Her floppy ears became hoop earrings, and her black canine snout transitioned into a skin-colored button nose. Betty was a coy singer with a large, childlike head who loved to dance and lift her skirt. She became well known for her cute catchphrase, and many viewers felt her talents went beyond what she showcased on stage. Betty Boop did not approve of the era's dress code. She quickly emerged as the star of the talk cartoon shorts and starred in over 100 cartoons. She also served as a symbol of the Depression era and as a reminder of the carefree days of jazz. Betty Boop stood out in animation for her unique portrayal of women, which was in stark contrast to her contemporaries like Minnie Mouse. While Minnie did show her underwear and blouses in a childlike way, Betty was proud to flaunt her sexuality and display her feminine characteristics by wearing high heels and a garter belt. In fact, male characters were regularly shown sneaking a peek underneath her clothing.
Hurry up, baby.
Betty Boop was a controversial character. Her appearance was then toned down due to 1934's National Legion of Decency Production Code. This imposed guidelines on the motion picture industry and limited sexual innuendos.
Boop was an example to young women that taught them to embrace themselves. However, the older generation did not want these women roaming the streets half naked. So some states banned skirts that were shorter than 3 inches above the ankle. If you did wear this, then you would be fined. Male employers also would fire women who had their hair bobbed or did not wear appropriate clothing.
There were even people called modesty police who went around on beaches that measured the length of your skirt. If it wasn't long enough, again, you would be fined. One student from Paris said, no more than the waist on the dress she wore. These beings without breasts, without hips, without underwear, who smoke, work, argue, and fight, exactly like boys, and who, during the night at the Bois de Boulogne, with their heads swimming under several cocktails, seek out savory and acrobatic pleasures on the plush seats of 5 horsepower Citroens. These aren't young girls. There aren't any more young girls. There are no more women either. The obvious attempts at slowing down these women were not working. They still partied and drank and danced inappropriately. However, by the older generation trying to take away their rights, they had broken a very important law. In the first section of the 14th Amendment, it states that no state shall make or enforce any law which shall abridge the privileges or immunities of citizens of the United States, nor shall any state deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due processes of law, nor deny to any person within its jurisdiction the equal protection of laws. That basically means that no state is allowed to make laws that unnecessarily take away a person's rights. But we have shown that this is what happened to these flappers. Like we mentioned earlier, they had the responsibilities of the women they were outside of the club. A wife, a mother, an employee, or whatever the case may be. The only laws that they broke were the ones that restricted their freedom. The flapper era came to an end when the stock market crashed on October 1st, 1929. This started the Great Depression. The carefree jazz age had come to an end, and so did the flapper style. A New York Times editor said that who has seen recent days this creature? The editors wondered, described as a typical post-war flapper. Her hair was furiously frizzled. Her smoking was over-enthusiastic. Her chewing gum was too loud and too large. Her vocabulary was imported directly from the trenches. She was startlingly picturesque, and now she was no more. This was in a news article titled "No More Flappers," published in 1928. To conclude, flappers had their rights taken away from them, and their responsibility to be a law-abiding citizen. But no matter what, she still found a way to have lots of fun.